Welcome to Help! I Have Kids. I'm your host, Pam Marshall, a mom of 5 and a pediatric occupational therapist with over 35 years experience. This podcast is designed to equip you with practical tools, insights from experts, and real life stories. Because at the end of the day, you are the head of your child's care team. Each week, you'll hear from pediatric experts and fellow moms like you that will help build your confidence. They'll offer clarity and empower you to make informed decisions that work for your whole family. Today, I'm joined by someone super special. She's got a great story, a heart that will inspire, I know, so many of you moms. And this is Susan Mills.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for being here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You have so much to share today. I'm excited to get to it. She's an author and advocate. You have a child with special needs that you'll tell us about. And you're doing so many exciting things.
I'm probably doing too much, as my mom likes to say. You need to take something off your list. But yeah, I am a proud mother to an amazing 12-year-old son. His name's Alex.
How is he 12? I remember when he was
I cannot
little.
believe. I know it is. And it seems like just this last year from the elementary to middle school transition has just been probably the biggest heartbreak for me because I see my little baby growing up.
Right.
But it's also exciting because I see him navigating some really cool things right now, and to sit back and just, take note of everything that he's accomplished, thus far.
Yeah.
And I'm just really proud of him. And then I have an amazing husband, Cameron, and we all three of us stay really busy.
That's exciting. I know Cameron has an exciting life too of doing so much different types of work and advocating as well.
He does. Yeah. He's become, we celebrated our 5-year anniversary in August.
Wow.
And so he was kind of thrown into the special needs world. Not only did he not have any children, but he didn't really have any great experience, with special needs, specifically autism. And so it's been a learning thing with him. And so he's embraced it, and he's doing a phenomenal job with it and loving every minute of it.
That's great. What are you really proud of as a mom? Like, what's something that just in this journey?
Well, and I don't know, they say, is it nature or nurture? And I stand back and I look at my son and I see that he has, and I know I'm biased, but he truly has the most gentle spirit and the kindest heart. And he's such an empath. That up until like 2 years ago, when you would ask him his favorite color, he would say the rainbow because he was afraid of hurting another color's feelings, or, so now he'll tell you it's red. But it was just, he doesn't like competitive sports because he wants everyone to win. He doesn't want anyone to lose. And so, there have been some things that we've had to navigate, because of that.
Yeah.
But I'm still stand back and I'm just really proud at just how kind and sweet he is.
That he cares for people so much.
So much.
That's a good reflection of you.
I like to think that I had something to do with it, but I also think that he was just born that way.
Yeah.
He's
just the way he was wired.
Yeah.
That's so great. What is a best piece of advice that someone has shared with you, like in your mom journey? Because lots of people give you advice, but sometimes there's a nugget they give you and it really was so helpful. Can you think of something?
Well, you hear all of these kind of cliche quotes, the days are long, but the years are short, and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And especially as a special needs mom, you kind of learn pretty early on that that's very true. But, I think most of the time is, I focused so hard early on doing every single thing right.
Yeah.
And as I kind of started back and the further we go along in our parenting, journey, I started realizing that it's okay to make mistakes along the way, because not only is your child learning and you're teaching them about the world, but you're also learning too. This is the first time that I've ever been a parent. This is the first time that I'm ever living this life. And so it's about learning together. And my son has kind of picked up on that. He'll actually say, this is teamwork, Mom. This is teamwork.
Oh, that's good.
And so I think that that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned. No one's actually ever shared those words for word, but yeah.
You see it and learn it from others too.
Yeah.
That's neat. So everyday life, your child's off to middle school now.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? What's your work?
Every day is different. Every day for my husband's different. And that's kind of like the way that just kind of has settled and works for us. But I am an autism advocate. So I talk to a lot of people, every day. I used to have a nonprofit, but I've been able to focus my efforts with autism advocacy through my book. So I'm an author and an illustrator. And I kind of just happened by that. I just think you never know. God put these things in my path, and I never in a million years ever really saw myself here. But over the course of years, there have been things that have been placed in my path that have kind of just created where I'm supposed to be right now. And so every day I get up, I think of new stories. I think of new dinosaur characters. I get to draw. There are all of these different gifts that I've been given that I can kind of mold into something that has really fueled a passion for me. And I've been able to put a lot of my special messages into. And so every day I get to draw and write something that I love to do.
Amazing.
And
you found your creativity that God gave you.
Yes.
And the voice for advocacy and voice for these ideas and feelings. And
it's all kind of come together
amazing.
into this really cool package. And with a bow. And I've spent years in marketing and advertising, and so I feel like a lot of those gifts I've been able to meld into this as well. So it's been really cool to kind of watch it happen.
And I have some of your books right here. So I'm going to just show our moms that are watching some of these. They're all dinosaurs. So I know my kids love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of these.
So Stella, there's Stella, the sweet and spunky Stegosaurus.
Let's
Toby.
see if I can find Stella.
Stella's the very first one
this
you held
very
up.
first
Yeah.
one. Oh, there's Stella, the Stegosaurus.
Yeah, so she's sweet and spunky. And then Toby is a T-Rex.
There he is.
All of the dinosaurs are really cool. They each have their own little different personalities and what I call quote unquote special needs. So a lot of parents, when I'm talking to them or teachers or whoever, they're like, well, we don't have any kids in my class that have special needs. I said, you do.
Oh, yes,
You
do.
absolutely do. And if they don't, they certainly know someone who does. And so Alex was the third book I wrote. I named him after my son. So Alex, he's awesome and artsy.
There he is.
He has anxiety. And then you have Hadley, the happy and helpful Hadrosaurus. She has food allergies. And Oliver, the oviraptor, he has glasses. He has big red glasses. And then the last book that I just released is Cameron. And he has a basketball brain. So his thoughts bounce from one thing to another.
Over.
So he has ADHD. None of the diagnoses are mentioned in the stories, but just the nuances.
Just more the behavior and the type of dinosaur or child. What you see in our children.
Yeah, but the first two stories I wrote were just for Alex.
Oh,
so when he was 4, he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.5. And so when he was 4, he was absolutely obsessed with dinosaurs. Knew all the dinosaurs, what period, Jurassic period, Triassic, like all of that. And I went to the library and I was really trying to find books about dinosaurs that had some of the things that he could relate to.
Yeah.
And so he also has a sensory processing disorder. And so the first two stories I just kind of wrote Stella and Toby for him and just Google, and just, doodled some images and stuff for him. And then someone told me that I needed to write more dinosaurs and do that. And I spent time in New York and LA. And so I sent the stories to a couple of my friends there and they said, yes, just do it. And so I started writing more. And then during COVID, my husband was like, I was looking for an artist to do it. And my husband, I like to paint. And so my husband was like, why don't you just try to draw them? See what happens.
See what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did. And,
and that's what you did with your COVID time.
I did. Well, it was also working as well.
Oh, gosh.
But that was a stress reliever for me.
Yeah. That's so great. I love hearing the positive stories about COVID. Like during that season, it gave people space to explore new things. And I've never seen so many people walking. That was so phenomenal.
Wasn't that?
Everybody
That was
was walking all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we all maybe found some things within ourselves that maybe we needed to tweak.
Yeah.
Maybe some things that were brought out that we are now cherishing as, great gifts. And so it's really cool. And it brought my husband and we got married during COVID. So we always like to say it was the best because we didn't have to invite everybody.
Yeah. It was just a small little thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so great. Yeah. I remember being fascinated by the small wedding. Like you would see pictures and people, oh, my wedding got canceled, but we had this small little one. And it seemed so sweet, a lot of them.
Yeah, it was great.
So good. And then you did something new, my favorite, coloring book.
Yeah.
Tell me about
Stomp
that.
And Scribble. So in all of the stories, one of the main things that I love to do with Alex is that, I think it's really important that our children from a very early age realize that they can do big things. They can do hard things.
Absolutely.
And they need to have the confidence to do so. And, unfortunately, not every child has that at home. So they can, hopefully find a teacher or a friend that can do that as well. And so it's a You Can Roar coloring book. So each page is just kind of like words of affirmation on things that they can do and how they can be a great person and how they're a great helper and how they're forgiven, how they're a good friend, things like that.
So good. And I bet you learned some of that in your journey with Alex because kids with autism respond so well to social stories and learning things through stories.
Absolutely.
So it's incredible that you took your gift to help your child, like something you were good at, helped your child, and now you're going to help so many children through these books.
It's really cool because I think a lot of times we don't understand or realize how much they're looking to us. And my husband he has this amazing poem that actually hung in his locker room in college, and it's Little Eyes Upon You. And and he uses it a lot in his ministry when he's talking to younger kids, is that we all have people that are looking up to us with those little eyes, and we may not even know it, but their eyes are upon us and they're looking at how we handle situations and things like that. And so so if we're constantly saying, oh, I should have done a better job, or, oh, that was stupid, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever's coming out of our mouth. Right.
So it's just kind of positive affirmations, like doing that.
Being kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
Yes. And we moms need so much grace for ourselves. We need to
we carry a lot.
Yeah. Stop being so hard on ourselves.
Yes. We are our harshest critics.
Absolutely.
For whatever. But it was it was cool. There was, I guess Alex was maybe 4 years old. And he was trying to do something on the playground. And I hear him whisper, I can do it.
Oh.
I can do it. And I was like, oh. That's great.
That's so sweet.
That's amazing.
That
Yeah.
he's like cheering for himself.
He's cheering for himself. I'm like, that's awesome, buddy.
That is a great thing to learn that young.
Yeah.
Like for any child to learn that.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
bet that meant so much.
It did.
And were you ever told like he wouldn't do things? Were you ever told that when he was really young or first diagnosed? Like,
well, when he was first diagnosed, he was 2.5. And so, for a 2.5-year-old, and to say, well, oh, is he high functioning or, is it level 1, 2, 3? And I remember, I knew in my heart that he probably had autism when we took him for the diagnosis. It still felt like getting hit by a Mack truck.
Oh, I'm sure.
But the questions that followed, and I look back now and they're just kind of silly. I was like, well, will he ever drive? Will he ever get married? Will he ever live on his own? And the doctor's like, I have no idea. He was very upfront with me, like the main doctor.
But those are real mom, because we have dreams and hopes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for us, his dad and I, we did go through kind of a grieving, time period where the things that you have envisioned of exactly how you thought everything was going to go is not going to go that way.
Right.
But it turns out it's even better than we had envisioned because, Alex truly is just he's a great kid. And Cameron will say, oftentimes he goes, I look at some of these knuckleheads that are running around the street or whatever. We have it good, and so we really do. He's a great kid.
It's so fun that you're at this point in your parenting that you're seeing that. You're seeing the wonderful side and the blessing and the
it's cool
to be.
It's really cool
because I know there's probably a lot of moms listening that maybe have younger children. Maybe they're early in their journey, and there's a lot of fear and a lot of now what do I do, or feeling overwhelmed or feeling like they're not equipped. So what might you say to a mom who's in that early journey?
Yeah.
Just getting a diagnosis or suspecting their child has autism. What would you say to them?
It's, it's interesting because when you start, and I don't want to say it's always the moms that feel it first, but you just kind of see things that may be off. Then, for dads, sometimes it's a little maybe harder to wrap their head around. And, but it's good to have those conversations. And I think, and you have to talk to people, you have to find your group of people, the people that have been there and done that. And I couldn't say that's probably the very most important because, even though every person's journey is the same and every child is different, different needs, different family dynamics. What works for one family is not going to work for the other family.
Yeah, one family with a lot of kids, one family with no kids, one family with,
and everyone is
families.
Just kind of like, I've reached out to mothers whose kids are, 10, 20 years older than Alex, and they're giving me advice. And then I'm giving someone who's just getting a diagnosis advice. And so with every stage, though, there's different challenges, and that's with any kid.
Any child.
And we've experienced that when we were growing up. My gosh, I keep scratching my head wondering for okay, the hormones are coming. So I'm reaching out to my friends. Just asking what's going to happen, what to expect, and things like that. But it's just to find your people.
Find your people. And so you moms who don't have people, what are some ways, especially the autism community, I see parents connecting all the time, but there might be moms out there that don't know, how do you get connected to other moms or other families that have kids with autism? How do you get connected?
There's some great organizations here locally. I have found podcasts have been a great way. Because you automatically feel like a sense of community. Yeah. I'm a part of some amazing Facebook groups, you know, as well.
There's powerful.
Locally and, oh, yeah. Because let me tell you, and I know, you know, I'm the most familiar with the autism community, but there are also mom groups specifically. And let me tell you, I mean, when you are part of a group of mama bears, there is nothing you can't do.
That's
it is,
right.
you know, if you have a question about anything, someone out there has been through it. And, you know, I would say when it comes to medical type questions, always go to the doctor first, you know, but, you know, just kind of like opinions on things, like, what do you think about this? I have really good friends that I've never met in person. And that has only been through video conferences.
Right. You have I call them cyber friends.
Cyber friends. Yeah. And I know everything about their kids. They know everything about my kids. They've seen me through, you know, thick and thin and same. And that's really cool. It's really cool that we can be connected that way.
It's so neat. I think it's good too.
Yeah.
So why do you think stories, we talked a little bit about how kids with autism really learn through stories, but is there anything else that explains, like, why is a story so powerful to teach that connection, acceptance, those kind of things, inclusion?
Well, I think kids, if we can have a relatable story for them, stories where they can put themselves in, you know, it's like kind of put yourself in someone's shoes. And the stories that I was writing for Alex and then became for others as well, it's like at an early age, we need to say that we're all different. And when I go to schools and talk to everybody, I was like, listen, we're all different, but that's awesome. Because if we were all the same, the world would be boring, you know?
Right.
And we start talking about, you know, a lot of times they're identical twins, you know? And I was like, okay, they look the same. But do you like pizza?
So different.
Do you like, what's your favorite color? Yeah. And when they start realizing that, you know, a world starts opening up a little bit. The world starts becoming a little larger and they start seeing outside their bubble. And I think that's really important.
That's good.
Because even as adults, you know, we fall into just, you know, being in our own bubble. And that's not how we learn, right? So we have to explore and we have to talk to different people from different walks of life and we have to listen to their stories. And so stories, I think, by that way, just automatically open it up and get conversations going.
That's good. And this story right here, you're telling your story and your journey. And I know for the overwhelmed mom or the mom who needs help, this is support and help for her. Just telling her story.
And just
what we go
just through. Not feeling like we're alone.
Right, exactly.
And that in and of itself is great.
Yeah, I think so. Is there a way that you decide your topics? Like, is it been really through Alex or has it been through listening to other people? How do you know what to write about or what stories are going to be impactful?
Alex was my very first inspiration, and he continues to be.
I'm sure you'll have some like going through puberty stories coming up.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? There have been a lot of parents that have come to me and said, you know, have you thought about writing about this? Have you thought about writing about this? And I'm always very careful because I don't want to mention a diagnosis in the book.
Right.
I don't think it's necessary, really.
It's not.
Kids can't really wrap their head around that, but they can wrap their head around, you know, scenarios.
Well, and you know, even the autism spectrum, I always say it is such a range. And there are kids next door to it. So there are kids that maybe have no diagnosis, but they're struggling. They're awkward. They're, you know, dealing with whatever it is, the same emotions. And so why would you put a diagnosis? Because
and we can be a better friend if we know. So it's like it becomes the mirror in the window, you know. It's a mirror is like I see myself in that character, in that story. But the window, which is so much more important even, I think, is because, you know, I think we teach our kids about the world and we need to teach the world about our kids. And so, you know, having that window is like for a child to look in and say, I don't know exactly what this is, but I have a friend that I think is like this or is going through this. And I can now kind of see what they're going through. It's amazing. Like I was in, and this is a short digress, I promise, but I was in this classroom and I was reading the Alex book And just because I feel like as we all kind of go through our days and we're somewhat disconnected sometimes to the world around us, or exactly, I don't know what what your day has been.
Right.
You don't know what kind of day I've had.
Right.
But if we're just kind to people, it makes the biggest difference.
It does.
And this one little boy, after I read the book, we have a Q&A. And so the Alex book is about anxiety. And so we start talking about big feelings, and then I ask for someone, who wants to be brave and share something they were kind of nervous with or have anxiety with. And this one little boy, he was kind of hesitant when he raised his hand. And I'd say he was probably about 7, maybe 8. And he said, I had anxiety this morning. And I said, okay. I said, well, do you want to share with your friends here? Because maybe your friends can help you. And he kind of looked around and, kind of started smiling, and he was shy. But he said this morning, my brother wanted his phone back. And I thought that was what the anxiety was going to be about.
Yeah.
His brother wanted his phone back. And he said, but my mom called my brother and said she was in the hospital because she had a nervous breakdown. And his teacher looked at me, and I looked at the teacher, and all of his friends started saying, it's okay. It's okay. And if he didn't have every single friend in that classroom before, he had a classroom of friends after.
Right.
And they were all cheering him on. And the teacher said, I had no idea that's what his morning was.
No idea that's what was
And now
happening.
I could be a better teacher for him.
Right.
So it's just, I think, it's finding those moments where we can relate and share things with each other.
And I love that you're getting it in classrooms.
Yeah.
Because school isn't all about just
No.
learn. It's so much about the social emotional.
Yeah.
And the connection to people and friends and
Yeah.
maturing. And that's really beautiful. That's
And
a
kids
beautiful
learn
story.
through play.
Yeah.
And through those
They
kinds of
do. They
interactions.
absolutely do, for sure. So, wow. That's affirmation that you hit the right button.
I did that day.
Yeah.
It was really
Really
powerful.
good. And I bet it brings a lot of hope to others, as
It
as they're
does.
experiencing
I
these
still
books.
think about that little boy,
I bet. Yeah.
and those types of stories. By sharing his story, and I think that's why it's so important that if we are having a tough time with something, that it's important that we share with others, especially like moms, dads, that we share, like, what, I don't have all my stuff together today.
Right.
And I'm running at 20%.
That's most days. None of us have our stuff together.
Are we ever
Yeah.
really 100%?
No.
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 But that's why it's important, because we need those other people in our lives to make up those different percentage points. Because,
Yeah.
there are days where we all feel like we're running empty because of one thing or another. And, but that little boy, he got to 100% by the help of his friends that day. And, or at least better than he was before he got to school.
And now they have empathy and understanding for him and what he was going through. Wow. That is really, really powerful.
Yeah, I think so.
So you wrote a blog about animal characters in children's books.
Yes.
Why do kids connect so strongly to animals?
Well, I think I know that animal characters are safe. It is not a child of a certain age, of a certain skin color, of a certain background, curly hair, straight hair. It levels the playing field.
Yeah.
This is a dinosaur. This is a cat. This is a dog. And you know what that character is, and it makes it feel safer.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's fun. It's easier for the characters in because especially if you're talking about big feelings, big emotions, and things like that. Some of those things can be kind of scary. But if they come from an animal character, somehow it makes it feel a little better too.
And I don't know why, if you can think back to some of your favorite children's books, but when I was a child, one of my favorite books was about this girl cat named Celeste.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of feelings and emotions
Yes.
and, just did things. It was I think she was a little like curious and, would follow her nose and,
Yes.
get off track. And maybe I identified with that as a kid. Maybe I was getting off task and
Absolutely.
doing things. But I remember I loved that book. I thought it was the best.
It's really cool. Even growing up, I really wasn't into Barbies. I think I had 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but most of the time it was my animal plushies. Those were my babies, so I think like when kids, they have these stuffed animals and stuff. So from really early on, like you have these plushies. Yeah. I know Alex, I don't know how many plushies he has still to this day. He loves plushies. But what's really interesting, and I don't know if any other parents might need to hear this, but just social development it's very critical, starting at a really early age from birth on. And especially kids with ASD. But I found one time, this was like 3 years ago, Alex was having conversations with his hand. And he's always been into plushies. It's kind of a removal of, it's not an actual friend in person, but he feels safe with the plushie to talk through things.
Well, it's probably not as overwhelming. Yes. Like a person is so overwhelming when
the eye contact and all of that. You have all of those social nuances.
Right.
And so he was having a conversation with his hand, and I was like, I'm just curious about something. So I bought him a couple puppets. And still to this day, he loves the puppets. Oh. He will put on big shows with the puppets. He has some like that have marionettes. Oh, yeah. So it's been really good for him. And sometimes like when he's really stressed and stuff, he'll just go into, we call it his lounge room and stuff now, where he'll just go out and, pull out some puppets and just, work through things.
Maybe he can join Miss Rachel's team. If any of you moms know Miss Rachel, her husband runs the puppets.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he would love that.
I learned that. He could join them. Maybe he could be a puppeteer. A puppeteer with.
He would love that. He has all these different voices. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to see. And of course, we've nurtured that. We got him a little puppet stage theater and things like that, because anything that we can do to nurture, like even a passion or whatever for a kid, we want to do. Alex isn't into sports. He doesn't understand it. He's like, why are people on the field getting beat up? That doesn't doesn't
make
puppets,
any sense.
that's his jam.
That's awesome.
Let's just feed it.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know.
Yeah, I loved Sesame Street growing up too, back then with all the puppets.
Yep.
I don't know if they still have as many puppets.
Absolutely.
But I loved them. So how can parents, there might be some parents listening that don't have a child with autism, but they want their child to learn about autism or to be inclusive, or how do parents have conversations with their kids about that?
That's a great question. And I've been asked that. It's tough. It's tough to navigate. I would just ask questions.
Or encourage your kid to be curious. That's another thing we talked about before, is encourage them just to be curious in a kind way. Like, tell me why you're talking to your hand, or, rather than being, why are you talking to your hand? Being, approaching it in more of a curious way of asking questions rather than an accusation or
really, because, earlier on, I would have, a lot of times, and still to this day, I have to insert myself into a social situation and bring Alex in, because he's not going to walk up to somebody and start a conversation.
Right. And I bet now you have to really do it in a way that doesn't feel controlling or doesn't feel like you're making him.
Yes.
You're like having to creatively dance and go, how can I encourage him?
It's a very gray area.
I bet it is.
But, I'm also almost mom to a teenager too. And so I have to like try to navigate that. But I would just say like, just be kind. I can't tell you the number of times, like, there was one instance at a pool where there were kids that were playing in the pool, and they were about the same age as Alex, and Alex swam over to him and was very awkwardly trying to put himself into their friend group, but not saying anything, but he was just kind of like in there. Yeah. And they just kept looking at him and not bringing him in. And the mom was sitting there on the edge of the pool. And so I kind of like hung back for a little bit because I wanted him to try to navigate this on his own. And one of the kids just said, just get away from us. Just get away.
Like mean. Yeah.
And the mom didn't say anything. And so I think it's, we need to help the kids sometimes, with that.
Right. That you want moms. So moms listening, speak up and guide your kids in those situations.
Yeah.
And then talk to them maybe privately about how they could have done that differently.
Yes.
But stand up for the kid with the difference.
Yes.
The kid that looks different or is awkward or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone needs a friend.
Model the behavior. Model kindness. And yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
All right. So many of our listeners, they also might know someone. If they don't have a child with special needs, they might know someone who has. And there's a lot of emotions that go with that. Grief. We talked a little bit about that. You're scared. You're, the unknown. There's so much unknown. And then just the exhaustion of carrying that responsibility of being their advocate all the time. Everywhere you go, it never lets off.
Yeah.
Even though you're that to children that don't have special needs, it's just a different level of it, I think.
Yeah.
So what would you want to say to, moms? Like, what's something you could share with them that you've learned in your advocacy journey, like about advocacy, about how to be out in front for your child?
Like to moms
with
special needs? There are going to be ups and downs. And I would just say, I'm one, I hate asking for help with anything. I am getting better. I really do think I am for asking for help.
That's good.
And so,
like, just admitting, I don't really know this, and I don't know how to
can't do everything.
Can't do it. Can you help me? Yeah.
Yes. And at one point in time, I was a single mom, so there may be some single parents out there as well. And I come from a home life where the home was like everything was put together, and my grandmother was a home ec teacher, and my mom, like everything was always together, and
like Martha Stewart dinner,
and thank you notes after every occasion, and at a certain period of time in my life when I was a single mom, and just with Alex and work and just the spinning and juggling of everything. I ended up starting to use paper plates.
Good for you. I'm a paper plate mom.
I'm like, you know what? I don't want to wash a dish tonight. I don't have, and I'm like, you know what? It's okay.
It's okay.
I am in a paper plate season.
Right.
And
no, we don't want to kill the planet, but sometimes we just have to use a paper plate.
We just have to, and that's okay. And just kind of letting go of some of the things, because everybody from the outside doesn't know what you eat on, does not know if you haven't dusted that week, or
how many days has it been since you changed the sheets?
Yes. And counting. It's like some of those things, as long as my baby and myself are taken care of and that we're healthy, there are going to be some days where you just have to focus on that and not worry about, everything else, the little things that really, unless you're living in a hazardous situation, like with,
Right.
it's okay.
Right.
It's going to be okay.
Letting some things go.
Yeah.
Simplifying. Conserving your energy even.
You think about how much time we make our own messes. We really do.
What was it like for you when you received your son's diagnosis, like emotionally? What was that like? Was it relief? Was it fear? Was it overwhelming? What was that like? You said you kind of suspected.
I did. I suspected. My mom suspected. There were some family members that were kind of like on the fence about it, like, I don't really know because he's really intelligent. I was like, well, yeah, he's intelligent, but that doesn't mean, that he doesn't have autism. And I went through definitely a depression period. It was mourning.
Yeah.
And
grieving. You're grieving.
Yeah. And my husband at the time, Alex's dad, he was dealing with it in his own way. We were wanting to talk about it. He was resisting it. It was just a really kind of tough space to be in. And then
where you were more accepting of it on a journey of grieving, accepting, and he was just like, nope.
Nothing's wrong with him.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with him.
Denial.
Yeah, it was denial. And that made it tough, because you want to be on the same page.
I have seen that as well in parents. And I think denial, just for you parents listening, that if you're denying, if you're in denial about your child, something being wrong, one parent sees it and the other parent doesn't see it, it makes it really hard.
Yeah.
So if you can just face it together, be unified, it goes so much easier.
Yeah. And just talk about it. Most of the time denial is fear and of the unknown. And that's a really kind of tough thing to navigate through too. I think it was, when you receive any type of diagnosis for your child, you're kind of sent home with paperwork and this is best case scenario, this is the therapy, or this is the medical treatment, or whatever it may be. And you immediately, at least for the first week, it's like I was paralyzed. I didn't know what to do. And then, still just trying to grapple with all the emotions. And then I got to work.
Yeah.
And so,
and 12 years ago, or 10 years ago, would have been his diagnosis. There were a lot less children. It has just climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed.
Yes.
To where now, I think the latest is 1 in 38. It's...
And 20 boys.
1 in 20 boys, something. It's very, very high.
Yeah.
And so it is a topic that we all need to be talking about because there's just a lot.
There's a lot, and there's a lot of controversy, I think, and a lot of people, make things political, and
I know
there's just a mess. It's a mess.
It is.
But at the time, we were living in the state of Illinois, and Illinois, unlike the state of Kentucky where we live, there was no autism state mandate for treatment. And so we were told that, and we went the therapy route that we went, they said that it was not going to be covered by our insurance company, that it was going to be out of pocket because it was deemed to be educational and not medical. And,
wow.
And so it was,
that puts stress, so much stress, financial stress.
And it's not cheap.
No.
And so we were going through our savings, which also puts another level of stress on an already stressful situation. And so we were, I will tell you, when dealing with anything for your child, I have always been the squeaky wheel. I will be the squeaky wheel. I will be a bulldog mom. I will get what my baby needs. And I would go on my lunch breaks to the bathroom and make calls to the insurance companies. And I would not take no for an answer. And I finally, I had made, I don't know how many calls a day for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I finally got on the phone with this one mom, where she was with the insurance, company.
But she happened to be a mom.
And I found that out. So I was at my wit's end that day, and I was about to give up. I was like, it's just not, it's not worth it. I there's got to be something else. And she was in San Francisco. I got her on the phone. She said, yeah, it's not covered. And I said, are you a mom? And she said, I am. And I said, imagine one of your kids having a diagnosis and they need help, but no one's there to help them. What would you do? And she said, can I give you a call back? And I said, no, because they won't call me back.
I know. Because that.
I'm sure you'll call me back,
Right.
And she said, I promise you. And I had tears in my in my eyes.
You're
at that
crying
point.
to
And
her.
She could hear the desperation. And sure enough, she called me back in an hour. She said, okay, I've put some things through. I've been able to do this. And she said, and now I think it's going to be covered. I'll follow up with you on this. And sure enough, she got it covered. But then the hassle became, okay, now it's covered. Now we've got to find a place that has openings. And every place I was calling for his type of therapy had indefinite, significant waiting lists. And they said, well, we'll put you on a waiting list, but it's probably going to be a year. And so again, it was like rinse and repeat. Then I had to just start calling and calling and calling. And so it was just really, it was by the grace of God that I happened upon this one place that had an opening for, 10 hours of therapy a week. And I was like, we'll take it, we'll build it up. And those therapists still to this day are some of my amazing friends, and they still keep track of Alex, and they're in Illinois. But they've
love
been amazing.
That happened like that for you.
Yeah.
And way to fight. Because I don't take no either from insurance companies. I don't take no either.
And it just goes to show, if you get the right person, you never know what that person's day is on the phone. But if you can find some kind of way to relate to someone and find
and now
that
there's been
story.
a lot of advocacy from other parents with children with autism, and there's some really good autism benefits and some good things out there that are supporting families. It's still not quite enough. Like there, I'd love to see more children. It's a whole nother topic, but even in our own state, they were discussing for a while an autism waiver, and then that's turned into something different than we originally had hoped for. But so there needs to be continued advocacy for sure to help families.
The voices still need to be there, and they still need to be strong. I know two of the women that they live in Louisville, and they're my friends, proudly to say so. And they were the ones that marched the Senate floor and got the first autism, mandate for the state of Kentucky. And, it just goes to show that there are people out there that are fighting for you.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yep. There's teams of people on my end, on the therapy side. We do so much advocacy and help people understand, mainly insurance companies understand the why behind it. And so it's really good. We get a lot done in the state on behalf of kids.
Yeah, we do. We've got some good people here.
We do, fighting on behalf of all your children. Yeah. It's so great. So to wrap it up, what do you think is kind of like the piece of either information or encouragement? What would you like parents to walk away with after this conversation? We've talked about so much about diagnosis and what that's like, and your creativity and writing books that are helping children with their emotions, also inclusion, advocacy. What's like, if you could just tell them one thing as we close here, what would be something to leave them with?
I think it's really easy to fall into, and I think it's a constant struggle with most of us. And you need kind of daily reminders for yourself, but I think you need to find your joy in life and not lose sight of yourself. because it's really easy to do that,
Yes, it is.
especially when you're
Mm-hmm.
fighting for your kids and tending to your family, and
There's so much
making
to
sure
juggle.
and
So much
making
to
sure
juggle.
everyone's needs are met. That sometimes you can lose sight of what your needs are, and then one day you wake up and you're just on like rinse and repeat.
You're on empty.
You're on empty, and you can't. And it's the cliche: you can't pour from a cup that's empty. And so even if it's something like 30 minutes a day after you put the kids down for bed, where you tune on and just, mindless TV or something, just do something where, you just kind of feed yourself, then, or go for a walk or something, just fresh air. And that does so much good.
We as moms need to figure those things out. And self-care isn't necessarily about getting a babysitter and going somewhere. Sometimes it's just, hey, I just want to get up and, like you said, go out and walk for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And,
or 30 minutes before the kids get up.
Yeah.
Just to sit in silence and just.
I used to do that all the time.
And it's just, there is something really peaceful about that. And I think, and I'd say, my husband does not like this because he has to have noise around him. It calms his ADHD brain, but there's something really powerful about sitting in silence, and
it is.
You can hear a lot when you're sitting in silence. And I think that that's really necessary. And whether you have a religion or, or not, it's just, it's important to have those time periods.
Really,
maybe if it's not in the morning, maybe it's 10 minutes in your car, but just be still and be silent.
Those are good words. Be still, be silent.
Yeah.
We know you moms can do it, and dads. We want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your kindness and wisdom and a little about your passions, and the way you're gifted is helping so many children. I love it.
I hope so. Thank
So
you
good.
so much for having me.
Yes. Well, if anyone wants to check out Susan's work, you can look up Rainbow Sparrow Publishing to find her Dino Sprout educational book series right here. And they're such a beautiful way to teach your kids and to interact, teach them about acceptance and differences. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to Help, I Have Kids. If you're tuning into this podcast, that means you're a mom who's curious, committed, and ready to learn. And we see you. We'd love for you to join our Help, I Have Kids Facebook community, where moms just like you are connecting, asking questions, and encouraging each other every day. It's a space for real conversations, expert insight, and support from moms who get it, because we're all in this together. And if you know a mom who's feeling unsure or maybe overwhelmed, or just needs to be reminded that she can do it, she can advocate for her child with confidence, share this episode with her. We're building a village here, and we're glad you're a part of it.